the misunderstanding that Buddhism itself is a religion. It is not. And Buddha himself didn't want it to be a religion either. And if you happened to be in one that says that Buddhism is a religion, or you have to believe in me or you will die, then I'll say you are in a cult and it's time for you to leave. Alright, so welcome to my channel. In this video I'll be talking about Buddhism, and to clarify the misunderstanding that Buddhism itself is a religion. Now the reason why I want to cover this in this video is because there are several encounters in my life that made me felt that there are many people who actually misunderstand what Buddhism is really about. The first few encounters are my friends who are in other religions and told me that Buddhists are worshipping Buddha himself as God, which is not true at all. And recently, a very close family member of mine shared with me an experience of hers where she was invited to a Buddhist temple. Apparently, it is in someone's home. And then they even threatened her that if she were to divulge what they are doing inside there, she will be cursed. And from then on, she was panicked, terrified, and changed all her views about Buddhism. Now keep saying that Buddhism is a cult. And because of this, I feel a strong urge. I want to clean this mess up that's been created by greedy leaders, people of ego who lust for power, twist and turn a lot of things that Buddha has taught. So one of the first thing is Buddha himself said that don't make me a religion. If you actually Google, one of translations of his last words were, it may be that after I am gone that some of you will think, now we have no teacher, but that is not how you should see it. Let the Dharma and the discipline that I have taught you be your teacher. All individual things pass away. Strive on untiringly. These were some of his last words. So over here you can also see his intention for his teaching is so that we can one day become our own teacher, like how he's able to do so. And the second fact that I want to talk about is there is no one more powerful than the other. If you become a leader, a spiritual leader, thinking that you have more power than the other person, thinking that you are better than the other person, or the other person deserves to die, you need to listen to me, this is not what Buddha himself once preached. Some of you might have even heard of this koan, kill the Buddha when you see one. Now a koan refers to the olden days when teachers, masters, when they want to test whether their disciples understand something, they will give their test in koans, which is a phrase, a quote. And this quote, this phrase, if they're able to answer, then they're able to comprehend the essence of the lesson itself. So it is very different from nowadays when we do academic tests. It's more about facts, technical abilities, or comprehension. In the past, koans dare to describe more than the 3-dimension space. So over here I also want to say it's very sad because schools, we don't practice that and we become very superficial, sticking to answers that doesn't really serve any purpose at all. Now the next key thing is, if you all keep thinking that Buddhism is a religion and there's a set of principles to follow, then you're wrong. When Buddha was enlightened, he wanted to share his wisdom with others, but he realized that nobody could understand what he has experienced. Because of that, he went back to meditate, crystallize into principles, so that they becomes a better way of people to able to grasp the context, meaning, and the application. However, what he has gone through and understood is beyond the principles. And this is very true for the great sages in the past, be it sages, teachers, masters. So you will notice even in the Bible that there are people who actually record dialogues, the stories. Then that will be a better way to understand with the context in exact words. However, that is also up to our own interpretations, filters, and also the writer's filters, and also providing that whatever they have passed down, it is still correct, precise, and intact. So then what Buddhism is really about? First of all, Buddhism itself is a name that's given to the people who practice his teaching, his ideologies. Over the years, because none of his disciples was able to understood it to a full degree, the followers starts to create factions, taking parts that they understand and putting their own form into it. But however, true Buddhism has no boundaries, there's no separations. And what Buddha himself wants to bring across is essentially everyone's suffering is unique because every one of us is different in our own ways. Yet at the same time, the kind of the sufferings that we go through are similar, are the same. Essentially, we're talking about 生老病死 in Chinese, or life, illnesses, old age, and death. Because of that, it's come up with principles that we can use to guide us, but however, it's not to imprison us and to put a fixation into that. And therefore, in the koan that we mentioned about kill the Buddha when you see one, is one day think you have seen one, or you yourself is one, then it's time to kill that ego, expectation, or fixation itself, because you are really who you are. You can only be who you are, and the only person who is stopping yourself to be who you are is you yourself, not anybody else. What the teachings of Buddha is trying to bring across is essentially to understand and comprehend that whatever suffering that you are going through of your own making, if you're able to see that. What it means is every single day when we get annoyed by somebody, when we have a goal or expectation to chase after, when we have a preference for something and a dislike for something else, we quarrel with people, when we isolate ourselves from people and many other things that has a reason to it, he knows that there's a suffering in it, and therefore he encourages us to look deeper, to reflect deeper and work on ourselves. So if I were to summarize a few key points, this teaching essentially is asking us to be more responsible as a person, to take up the ownership. One of my teachers have said these wise words before. He said, now if every one of us cleans up our own shit, throws our rubbish into the rubbish bin, then there isn't really a need for cleaners. There isn't really a need for fines. And in my words, to add on, then we don't really need cleaners because everyone will be responsible, not only clean our own shit, but to take care of surroundings, the nature of the roles that we naturally or by birth should take up. In my point of view, essentially, a lot of laws being created. Example, fine people for throwing rubbish. It itself is not solving any problem. Hiring more cleaners, more rubbish bins, and making them accessible, allowing, giving in to people's ego, comfort, and this becomes a disease in us. So right, here's where I'm going to stop, and I hope that some of you get to be benefited, to learn something out of it. Now, I know that this video is a bit short, but I hope that it helps. In the future videos, I'll be going through some of the teachings that he teach, Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, and in my own way, my own interpretation and understanding. And over here, I also want to make a disclaimer that whatever I say is of course to my own perspectives, and I only cover some points, and therefore it's not comprehensive for you to learn or understand the true nature of what Buddha is trying to bring across. So if you liked what you hear, just like my video, subscribe to my channel, and also share your comment as well. And I would greatly appreciate because it goes to helps promote my videos, my intentions. I feel that when more people is able to understand, especially in sensitive topics like religion, when we can learn the truth, not misunderstand, when we can verify, there'll be less misunderstanding, there'll be less conflicts, there'll be less wars in this world. And thank you.